Hey everybody, welcome to Lore Friday for December 18th, 2020. I'm your host, DM Galabond. Now, today we have a chance to go through something that's kind of a favorite little adventure of mine out of Princes of the Apocalypse because it just has a little bit of everything in it. And it's kind of compact and it tells a story and it's got some decent um, RP and character development opportunities in it for your players as well, which sets it all up. And taking some of these elements out and dropping them into a homebrew campaign is really, really kind of cool. All right, so we are going to look today at the Halls of the Hunting Axe adventure from Princes of the Apocalypse. And let's go ahead and slip over to this adventure and we will see see what this is all about. Um, there's been clues in here throughout this campaign that uh, one of the things centers around an ancient dwarven civilization called Besselmer. And Tyre Bessel was a city that was underground, and Besselmer was kind of the above ground area. This takes place, this adventure is geared for 11th level characters, and it takes place in some above ground and then underground ruins connected to Besselmer. And it is what kicks this off is a dwarven scholar who is looking for a legendary axe from an ancient king of Besselmer. Uh, the king is named Torhild Flametongue, and he has a magic axe named Orc Splitter. And he was supposedly buried with it, and his tomb has been lost for um, many, many, many centuries, if not millennia. However long it's been since uh, he's been gone. So, um, this is uh, this is a story about uh, trying to find that tomb and that axe. So the characters are met by a this dwarven scholar named Gargosh Blusterheim Helm. And Gargosh is, when he first meets them, is a eager dwarf. They arrange to meet up again to actually go on the expedition. And the Gargosh that meets them the second time is not Gargosh at all, uh, but a doppelganger that is working for Gargosh's evil cousin. And Gargosh has good intentions in trying to find this axe, but um, the cousin wants to take the axe for himself. So he kidnaps Gargosh, uh, sends his doppelganger buddy to go pose as Gargosh. They are keeping Gargosh alive because they think, well, at some point they may need some of the information that he knows. But they are basically wanting to allow the party to lead them to the treasure. So there's also some of these factions that are involved with it. Um, the the Harpers want the axe to be returned the uh, to the Lords of Mithril Hall because it's basically like a part of dwarven heritage, and um, if not a museum piece, then it's something that really belongs with the dwarves themselves and shouldn't be, just in the possession of some adventurer or something like that. Um, and then there's also the Lord's Alliance involved. Gargash is connected with the Lord's Alliance, and they want to help him find the axe because they want to improve their standing with Mithril Hall as well. So um, this is the story behind that. And Gargash has done research. He basically knows where these ruins are. He needs some help getting there. Yada yada. I'll meet you in a few days, and we'll go and we'll get this axe. All right. Well, so then when they meet up again, it's a different Gargash, and there's different things that you can, different checks that your characters can make to see if they can tell that something is not quite right here. Um, and the Gargash doppelganger has a specific route he wants to take to get there. The cousin Drannen is going to take a riskier route and a more direct route. And also, Drannen has one reason he's asked the doppelganger to go a specific route is that he has hired uh, some thugs to basically uh, try to waylay the party. Um, they're not powerful enough, and Drannen doesn't think they're powerful enough to defeat the party, but they do help to sell the idea that, when Gargash is nervous that other people are trying to get this treasure ahead of him, uh, that lends credence because of the fact that they all get attacked. And so that attack happens at the stone bridge, and there's a mage and some dwarven thugs, and yada yada. And then they finally get to the ruins, where the halls of the hunting axe. And I have gone ahead and put the um, map here, a little bit larger map, so we can toggle back and forth and look at where this is. First thing, very weirdly, seemingly randomly, um, as you get close to this, there's an owlbear. Well, of course, an owlbear is not much against 11th level characters, but there's an owlbear for whatever reason. And it doesn't try to attack the creatures unless they attack it. Um, but I think anything like this is just an invitation for your players who are kind of furry lovers to go, ooh, an owlbear. Can we keep him, please? Please, can we keep him? Okay, well that's up to you whether you want to do anything with that. Then there's ruins, a crumbling arch, just like a freestanding thing that's supposed to kind of give you a sense of the scale and um, endurance of the dwarven construction. The dwarven construction. There's a collapsed watchtower over here at X3 that it says it has a large statue on it, but then it says there's stairways inside the statue. So I don't really know whether there was a tower and then a statue on top of it, or whether the statue was something like, the dwarven version of the Statue of Liberty, where it's actually the edifice itself is actually a statue and you can kind of go up in it, the way you can climb up in the Statue of Liberty. Um, then there's Ancient Hall, where the roof is mostly collapsed, but there are um, four kind of archways that have stairs going down, and you go down in there. There's a big machine room uh, that's in there, and there's a small underground chamber beneath each of those stairways, containing dwarven machinery, and there's a symbol uh, on each of these things that is carved on the ceiling, and those symbols correspond to the elemental symbols of the cult, air, earth, fire, and water. And they are there for a reason. Uh, this machinery includes a bunch of gears and a big, huge flywheel, and that uh, that uh, the flywheel on the edge has etchings of the four elemental symbols. And then there's also some holes along those edges where uh, a something can be put in to keep the flywheel from moving. Because the gears are so well balanced that you can move the flywheel and you hear stones grinding, but then as soon as you let the flywheel go, it returns back to its resting position. And so the idea here is you look at the ceiling, you figure out what the symbol is, you rotate the flywheel until that symbol is showing, and then you jam something into the uh, uh, kind of the hole there to keep the flywheel from spinning back the other way. And if you modify all of those rooms in such a way so that that's matching, then it unlocks a secret staircase. If you don't do that, then there's only one other way that they give you to do that. So that's kind of a puzzle type of thing. If your players are into puzzles, you can do that. And of course, because this is part of the Princes of Elemental Evil, those symbols are air, earth, fire, and water. In your campaign, if you take this and relocate it, you could have, four symbols, you could have three symbols, you could have five symbols, whatever it is that relates to your game, and you can use the same kind of mechanical thing there. All right. Then there's a cistern, which just has, um, which uh, there are some harpers, which is one of the factions, and they are they're trying to prevent people from looting um, the treasure and taking it for themselves. And if the characters succeed in their mission, these harpers will show up at the end of the adventure. And there's a natural amphitheater, and the natural amphitheater over here at X6, that is where our antagonist, Dranon Splithelm, and his followers will kind of hide out and wait. They will observe the party, and then if they realize that the party are onto something, they will come in and follow them in, as is mentioned a little bit later on. Then there's actually this opening in the wall in this bluff here, X7, and that's what goes into the underground area. And so you walk in there, and there's a long tunnel, goes down, and that's where you finally find the false crypt, is at the end of that tunnel. All right, so that tunnel empties out into this area X8 here, and X8 is called the Hall of the Fallen, and there's big, huge pillars here, as you can see, and every pillar on each of the four sides, it has a relief carving showing a dwarf, and there's evidence because of previous grave robbing in here that each side of these pillars is actually a tomb, and there are remains of dwarves in there. At this point, there's no undead or anything like that or whatnot. Um, Now, I did run this in Adventurers League, and because I'm the kind of DM that I can't just leave well enough alone. And my party, they always kind of expected something weird. So I went ahead and I put some undead in here and put them inside some of those pillars. And then when the party would do something, it would trigger and the undead would burst out and started attacking them. And you know, the party were both terrified about that, and the players loved it too. So you can play around with stuff like that. Um, then we come to that whole puzzle thing. Within this area, over in this corner, there's a place called X9 on the map, and there's a carving right next to X9 of the king, and he just has his one of his hands is pointing at the floor, and you can tell the floor is a little bit different, but unless you go and set those things correctly in those ruins over at X4, you won't, nothing will happen. Um, there are four locks, one that each corresponds to a set, the flywheel and set of gears and everything. And when the flywheels are all set correctly, it will unlock those locks. And then by taking the uh, staff from the statue of the king over here at this pillar next to X9 and putting that staff in a hole on the ground, it will actually unlock and open those stairs. And then when those stairs are open, that's the only way you can get down into X10 or X11. X10 is the false crypt. You have two statues of dwarves, and you have a sarcophagus here. You go up to the sarcophagus. As soon as you open it, these statues animate, and they are stone golems. And the casket or the sarcophagus is empty. It doesn't have anything in it of value. So you get attacked by those. And then there's actually the secret door that you could find. And when you go into the secret door, that's when you find the actual tomb of the king himself. And and that's where his body is, and that's where the axe that you're looking for is located. And then, of course, if you wind up coming uh, out of the tomb with the axe and everything, there's follow up. So the Harpers will try to negotiate with the players to trade the Orc Splitter for magic items that the party might find more interesting. Um, and then you have the opportunity to go and rescue the real dwarf. What the hell was his name? Um, the real Gargosh, where he has been imprisoned. And now, what do I like about this? Well, as I said before, I like the fact that it's got a lot of stuff very self-contained. Um, you've got enemies to fight. You've got kind of a storyline about something going on. You've got a magic item. You've got puzzles. You've got um, different groups of people all trying to look for this with different motivations. And so, yeah, that's That's what I mainly like about it. Uh, and this setting is generic enough here that those could be ruins in just about any kind of um, fantasy area. You could make those humanoid, goblinoid, hobgoblin, whatever. All right, and that is the the Hunting Axe for Lore Friday for December 18th, 2020. I've been your host, DM Galabond, um, and if just love to ask you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, click the post notification bell so that you get notified when new content drops. And yeah, that is going to do it. Take care, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. Good night, everyone.